Hey everybody, Mr. Lucas here with another video for you. Hopefully y'all have been busy memorize that monologue or even feeling like you can read the monologue with emotions and feelings. As you guys can tell, I'm wearing a Hufflepuff shirt because I love Harry Potter and I am a Hufflepuff. Also, I'm wearing a hat for a quick second. Now, let's jump into our warm-up. Our warm-up today is going to be one that I use in my classroom. This warm-up is called Magic Blob. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this magic blob to you through the computer screen. Okay, and you can mold it and you can shape it however you want. If you want to pull it apart, make kind of a square, or you want to squish it down super teeny tiny, or you want to just make it really long or make it really big and stretch it out with your whole body, you are more than welcome to. Oh, and you can just play with it for a second. You can dribble it if you want to dribble it like a basketball. You can throw it up. Remember that miming stuff that we talked about in one of the videos? Yeah, just play with it. Or you can make it really heavy. Or you can just make it light and soft. This warm-up is to help with our imaginations, to help us visualize things that maybe aren't there. Because that's a lot of what acting is sometimes we have to act when things aren't there. So please use that imagination, turn on that imagination. I will let you know when we'll begin and I'll throw it right to you. I will be asking you some questions while we go through it, and I just want you to shout them out as you mold and you play with this blob. Okay, I'm gonna throw it. Are you ready to catch it? Are you ready? And perfect. Okay, so kind of feel it in your hands for a little bit. Play with different shapes. Keep molding it. Now, what color is it? First color that comes to your mind. Awesome. Now, what does it feel like? Well, is it hot or cold? Is it metallic? Fuzzy? Wet? Slimy? Can you shape it into your favorite animal? Oh, has it changed into a completely different shape? What shape is it now? Wonderful, thank you all for participating. Now, if you don't have it on hand, please grab your monologue and the notes that you took on that monologue. If you haven't had a chance to do that yet, then please grab a blank sheet of paper and a pen. You will need that in just a second. Like I said, you still have a little while. I'm going to be going over the audition tips, and that lesson that day will be about auditioning. And we will talk a lot more about that. In the meantime, today is going to be more work and questions that we ask ourselves when we do these monologues or we do these scenes and when we act. Now, if you have your monologue, you can just use this on the blank side on the back. If you already have stuff written there, then please go ahead and take the time to grab another blank sheet of paper so that you have room to draw and write on it. Today's lesson, we will be talking about some questions that we ask ourselves when we do drama. Some very specific ones that I like to ask. I call them the W questions. You may have heard this when you've talked about reading or when you were learning how to read. Who, what, when, where, and why. So we'll start with who. When we ask who, we are asking who is involved in the scene or the play. We talked about this a little bit last video. With your monologues, we are asking who are we talking to. I use the example that one of them is talking to their dad, another one is talking with their mom. If you wanted to change the person, typically in a play, you wouldn't be able just to change the characters like I've said. With these monologues, they are not from a play, they're just monologues written for kids. So if you want to change the character that you're talking to, that's totally okay for these monologues. But no, if you're reading a play, you won't be able to change the characters because the characters have already been written. The next question would be, what are we talking about in the scene? So what specifically is your character talking about? When is this taking place? Is it taking place in the morning? Is it taking place at night, lunchtime, bedtime? When is this taking place? Where is this happening? This one is very important. You need to, and this will tie in with the activity that we're going to do today. Where matters because you need to understand where you're at. Can you get mad and shout and scream in a restaurant? No. Then you know that something's wrong and that you're not supposed to be doing that. Is it okay to yell and scream at the playground? Sure. Yeah. That is perfectly okay. But can you do that in a classroom? No. You could get very in trouble. If the play is asking for that, great. Then you understand that it's against the class rules and maybe your character is a student who is not very good and doesn't like to listen to rules. Okay, where is very important so that you can see in your mind where you are having this conversation and why. Why are you having this conversation? Are we just having this conversation just for fun? Are we having this conversation because we want something? In all of those monologues, the reason that the character is talking is because they want something from someone else. For example, the kid doesn't want to play baseball. The girl wants to help her mom cook because she wants to be a chef when she's older. Those are perfect answers to the why question. For the activity that we're going to do with this lesson, I'm going to have you come up with the little scene of where you're at. You are going to draw it. And I will show you as we go along. I'll explain now and then I'll show you each step of the way. So with that piece of paper or the backside of your monologue, we are going to draw a room. Okay, it is going to be the where, specifically with the monologue that you have picked. If you have not picked the monologue yet, please go ahead and pick one now. And you can read through it real quick. You can go ahead and draw on the back or draw on a separate piece of paper. So we are going to go ahead and start drawing. I've got here a paper and a pen. Okay, so start off by drawing that rectangle. And I am using a Sharpie so that you guys can see the shapes a little bit better. So here's my rectangle. You can draw as big or small as you want, depending on how much space you have. We're talking about the where. When you're reading your monologue, you should understand where it is. Are you outside? Are you inside? Are you in your house? Are you in a field? Are you at the park? All of those are great questions to make sure that you're checking with yourself. For the sake of this, I'm going to draw my bedroom. I'm going to write the name of the room up above. Now, if you're in an area like a park, that's totally fine. You can draw the park. You don't have to draw the whole park. You can just draw a section. So if it's like baseball field, or if it's next to a playground, or if it's just one big field, that works as well. With your room, I want you to start drawing different things that are in that room or space, right? So like I said, if it's that big empty field, maybe draw some trees. Maybe if there's some mud off, it is all up to you. It is to use your imaginations. That's why we use that warm up, okay? For my bedroom, okay, so for that bedroom, I'm gonna go ahead and start by drawing a bed. And please take the time to start filling in your square. We practice drawing the area first of where we're talking. When you are on stage, you will know where you are. There will be set pieces and maybe other characters. There's some set pieces that will look like houses or maybe look like stores, lots of different things. We are drawing this to help us when we do like a monologue, helps us visualize where we are to help us get into character. So I've drawn a bed, a nightstand, beep, 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 beep. I wish I could show you. Boop, boop. Here's a big window. And you can also label your items in your space or your room. I'm labeling mine. You do not have to. Here's a dresser. Beep, beep, beep. So hopefully you're taking this time to draw. I will show you what my room looks like after this. And if you need more time, please pause the video. And here's a big old rug. And I think that's about it. Oh, maybe I'm gonna add the door right here. And I'm gonna add a TV in my room. Why not? Now, I'll show you mine. This is mine. This is my bedroom. I am not the best artist. I do the best that I can. Here's my bedroom. I've drawn a window just so you know that it's right there. There's the bed. There's a little nightstand. There's the door that goes outside of my bedroom. A TV, a rug, and a dresser. Okay, and that is your where. I want you next to do who. I've only drawn the two. If you were to do a bigger scene, you could write in more characters, I just want you to write the who is in the room talking with you. So if I'm gonna say it's me and my cousin, and that's who I'm talking to. And we're gonna go ahead and label so we know the questions that we've got. So there's who, where, the what. What are we talking about? I just want you to make a quick little sentence, or even if it's just a word, just one word about what you're talking about. Maybe what I'm talking about with my cousin is a sleepover. Okay, and it's just one word. I just wrote sleepover. So we've got the who, what, and where. Now, the next one is when. When is this taking place? Okay, and you can even check a specific time. In a script, most of the time it'll tell you when, like, oh, sunset, or the morning, or the afternoon, after school. You can decide specifically when it is. So if you're like, this happened right after school, or this happened right before bedtime, that works. Also give it a time. So my time, I'm gonna put 8 o'clock p.m. Or if I wanna write what day it is, when it's taking place, maybe I'll write Friday night. There, I've written when, 8 p.m., Friday night. We've got who, what, when, where. And why are we having this discussion? That is something that you'll need to be thinking about when you do your monologue. All of this activity will help you when you're memorizing and understanding where exactly you are in this scene. That is the little activity I have for us today. So hopefully you take your time. If you want to draw more in depth of what that room looks like, go ahead. That is perfect. When we are acting, make sure that you are asking yourselves questions about what's happening and answer them with your own words and your own imagination. These W questions help, especially even with reading. When you're reading in school, knowing who, what, when, where, and why is very important. When you read a book, you need to understand where it's taking place, right? My favorite example, and like I showed you guys earlier, I'm wearing the Hufflepuff shirt for Harry Potter. If you've read Harry Potter, you need to understand that if Harry uses magic outside of school, then he gets in trouble. And you need to know who is talking. If you don't know which character's talking or who's saying what, you get confused and things don't seem as clear. All of these questions will help in reading and in drama when you're doing this acting. This activity can be used in any sort of situation. If you wanted to come up with your own story, you don't have to just do this with a monologue. You can get a new piece of paper, draw a square, create a room, come up with characters, and you can come up with a whole new story that you want to write, and maybe even grab some friends and act out a scene. If you use the example like the bedroom, I wrote sleepover on it. You could create a whole little skit or fun activity with your friends about a sleepover. Play and pretend where all of those things are in the room. Now, the last video that we are going to do will be an audition, so please prepare the monologue as much as you can. Just as a recap for those ways to help memorize from the last video, you can read it over and over again to yourself. You can record yourself and listen to it over and over again. You can write down the monologue, just reading from one paper and writing it down on the next while saying it also helps. If you have another way of learning a monologue, please go ahead and do so. Please know that these are not for sure ways. If you find something that works better for you, then I totally support what you do. Okay, perfect. Sorry, it is getting dark and our video is done for today. So please be prepared for the next video to have this monologue ready to go. I will leave them in this folder as well, just in case. Great, I am Mr. Lucas signing off. I'll see you guys next time.